As we head into reunion weekend, where old friends will be reunited, in many cases for the first time in 35 years, it's worth remembering that this event is, in part, born out of tragedy. I visited Rhode Island in April and went to a Pea Bruins game with Glenn Morin, and he told me about the freak accident that took Rich Ferrara's life in March. Rich was a great guy with a big heart, and although we were friends, I do not think I had seen him since graduation. And since it was our reunion year, I didn't want to lose any more classmates before we tried to make this happen at least once. So that's how we got here. And in the process, I learned of others who had passed: Brian Brazenor, Stephen Cunha, James Eastwood, Norm Gendreau, Joseph Marshall, and Lawrence Palumbo. I knew about Norm. He was a nice kid, and more importantly, his dad delivered Ralph Scorpio, myself, and probably a bunch of other kids in our class. It truly is sad that someone who brought so many kids into this world had to lose his own so young. I was surprised to hear about Joe Marshall, though. He died in 2005 in Washington State. I had not talked to him since 1995, just after I had moved west. Joe and I were good friends, and I loved his twisted sense of humor. For those who remember our faux punk band, the Cheers, it was Joe who was the inspiration behind our signature song, whose name I dare not repeat other than to mention that it involved apple strudel. There are two stories I'd like to share about Joe. The first is from high school. We were reading Chaucer in our English class, and our teacher, Mrs. Johnson, invited the class to a medieval dinner at her house in Lincoln, which we were to attend in period costume. Joe and I met at LaSalle, raided the drama department costume rack, and drove out to Mrs. Johnson's house in Lincoln, together in costume. I did mention we were in costume, right? So we were officially in the middle of Nowhereville when Joe's brake pads caught fire. So we pulled over and decided to ask one of the many kind-hearted people of East BFE if we could use their telephone to call Joe's dad for help. I did mention that we were wearing costumes. So if two teenagers came to your door looking like they just escaped from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, you would let them in right away, right? Didn't think so. And that was what we experienced. First house, they said no. Second house, same result. So I was wondering, what were they afraid of? It's not like there was some warning about Monty Python-esque marauders. Maybe they were expecting a medieval Clockwork Orange. Who knows? Finally, the third house. We knocked. It is Arthur, King of the Britons, and we seek the Holy Grail. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I just kept my mouth shut this time. The lady who answered agreed to call Mr. Marshall, but she made the Knights of the Round Table wait outside. Smart lady. Any event, Mr. Marshall came to the rescue, and we had a great Chaucerian time at Mrs. Johnson's that night. Joe and I both went to school in D.C., he at Georgetown and I at American. We did this huge anti-Reagan march together with 100,000 people. We got together a few times. We came back to Rhode Island that summer, and we both knew it was going to be our last summer at home. So we made a bucket list of Rhode Island things we had not done. You know, like use a blinker. We went to Moonstone Beach, which is really, really cool if you like naked old men. We also made the Rhode Island equivalent of the moon landing. Yes, we courageously went to Block Island. To this day, I remember standing at the stem of the ferry in the middle of a patch of fog. We didn't know what was out there, but we knew it was going to be great. That wasn't just Block Island. At that time, it seemed that the world was ours to conquer, and it was only a question of when. There's a Vietnamese proverb, life is a temporary stop, death is the journey home. Joe and our other classmates have made that journey. I'm sure many of us wish we had more time with them, or that they could be with us today. And in some respects, they will be. And so to our departed classmates, Brian Brazenor, Stephen Cunha, James Eastwood, Rich Ferrara, Norm Gendreau, Lawrence Palumbo, and Joe Marshall. We'll be thinking of you, and you will be missed. But I hope you will welcome us when we make that journey home. Cheers.